All right, so we're going to have an author talk about his book today, and his name is P.B. Landon. Now, P.B. and I have met each other, and he introduced me to his books, and this series is a New Jerseyan series, much like it chronicles of, you know, Clerks and things like that. But obviously, it's not like Clerks. Oh gosh, it is nothing like Clerks. But yeah, so he's on the show, and we're going to see what he's got to say on what his inspiration was, what led him to write the book, and where you can find it. So check out this episode of Mindless Sketch with P.B. Landon in Just Only Slightly. Like, you have to be positioned where you're not like excluding the audience. And I would do that when I'm like improvising with people and they're like, I can't see you again, Joe. I can't see you. I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to be seen. I don't know. How about that? You know?
Sometimes you're in the ensemble, you move like a big group of fish from one side to the other.
Yeah.
The singing and the blocking.
Yeah, I know. It was a little tough for me to do. So like, I think stage acting was just not
It's
in
skills,
it for me.
bro. It takes. My father managed a Broadway theater, and can you imagine performing like that 8 times a week, twice on Wednesday, or was it twice on Saturdays? And you got to sing like that every week. And if you have one crummy performance, everybody's going to run and say that you did not do well.
Yeah, because they're what they paid to watch that show,
And
right?
they're paying exorbitant. And this is the New York crowd, so they've seen all the best. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I know. I think I was doing a little bit of research. So your dad works in stage theater, right?
Correct.
Production.
My father was at Man, almost 30 years. In fact, more than 30 years. Ethel Barrymore Theater was his main theater. That was on 47th Street. And he worked his way up to manager. And lots of fun stories and memories. My father put out a book, too, called Back of the House, about his memoir with all the actors and all the famous people he's seen and all the theater stories. Things going wrong, members of the audience having medical emergencies and whatnot, needing to be defibrillated or escorted out of the theater.
Oh, Jesus.
He shouts out, is there a doctor in the house? And of course, it's Manhattan. It's Manhattan, so like 50 hands go up. Is he insured? Sometimes, at one time my father said, they said, is there a doctor in the house? And somebody else yelled back, is he insured? Right?
I hope they were just kidding. Maybe not.
They were jazzing up. It was the theater.
Oh, Jesus. That's incredible.
And everybody's a ham.
Yeah, no. Usually, like, I think, well, I have been in a couple of things. I actually did this one film. I was helping on doing an establishment shot just for a film called $10 Baton. And that film basically was about a $10 bill that makes its way through, it gets handed off. Every time it gets handed off, the story follows that character. Everything is connected around that $10 bill.
Sort of like Proust.
So it's like $10 baton, so it's being passed along to the next person.
Sure.
But every character in some way is connected to that $10 bill. It's a comedy. So a lot of it is very like,
So it follows the circulation of this money.
Yeah.
Are some of the characters real short? Like some guy just has the $10 bill and then he buys a coffee and then.
Yeah, not everything is like a full story. Some of them are like accidental, but then sometimes it does, like there was one character that was short, but it came around again. But yeah, it was interesting. And then I was so I did a small scene, and I sat down, and I was one of those guys that plays the
bongos?
It was the bongos, but on a paint bucket.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just
like on the sidewalk?
Yeah, on the sidewalk. Okay. And I'm just like...
Penn Station stuff?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for a change to be dropped to me.
Yeah.
Like, I was just paid to do this,
And you get the $10 bill?
No, I didn't get the $10 bill. I was just the penniless man that nobody liked to just walk past me.
I'm always heartbroken on when you're taking the subway and the kids will come in and they'll do the little performance and it's not that good and nobody's giving them any money and you're just
damn.
like, sometimes those performers are annoying. I've seen some.
Try a little harder, guy.
Yeah, I've seen some Cirque du Soleil. This guy was going between all the handrails, underneath the seats. He didn't touch the floor once. And I was just like, why aren't you at the big top? You know, why aren't you at the Big Apple?
I mean, sometimes there are some really talented people that are in the subway, especially when they're musicians. Like, guys.
The life of a drummer. Unfortunately, I've known I had a piece of a nightclub back when. I wasn't responsible for booking the acts, but that poor drummer, he's always the first to go. And that's why you see him on the sidewalk. It is. I don't know. I guess because a drummer can imbibe a lot to a band, but oftentimes, you know, can you keep a 2/4 beat? Okay. Hi-hat every so often.
Well, I'm like, well, God bless the clubs, the nightclubs back in the day, especially late at night.
You ain't kidding, man.
They're like playing along with whatever the DJ is playing. I used to love that. That was
the whole club scene back in the day was just so much better. I went to a nightclub not long ago, and it was with my buddy. He's Jamaican, and it actually wasn't too far from here. It was by the Greenville, and
okay.
We walk in the nightclub, and I'm used to the nightclub. The West Indian nightclub back in the day was, you know, a dance floor, bar,
right,
and the wall might have a rail that you could sit your drink on it too. This place was just all full of couches. It was the weirdest thing. It was almost like a stadium seat of just couches and booths. It looked more like a diner than a nightclub. And everybody was sitting down.
Yeah.
And they'd get you to buy, you know, bottles of this or that, wine and champagne for more than a premium.
No, back in the day.
And it was like, where's the dancing at? I thought we were going to.
Usually dance floors, open dance floors. There might be a little bit of seating, but not enough for everybody.
The bit outside the nightclub was just as fun, too. All the people having a cigarette or just getting a breath of fresh air. That's where people were really talking. Then on the inside where people were consuming drinks and dancing and having a good one.
No, I remember back in the day. That was it. Yeah, you step out because like you're sweating, and you're like, I need a break, and you want to have a cigarette, so you go outside, and then there's like 7 or 8 other people there, all leaning against the wall or by their usually
7 or 8,
little sick,
or like 20. And how fun the nightclub
depends on you know which nightclub you're at and how late it is. But there was a vibe for sure. Yeah. No, they changed it all up. Now it's just like nobody dances as much anymore.
Not nearly as much.
No.
That's one of the big differences in generation between probably I'm an older millennial, but Gen X and millennials. Like even it didn't matter what scene it was either. The punk rock scene, everybody was punking out, clapping and dancing. The heavy metal scene, everybody was moshing.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from that.
Oh yeah, well
I didn't want to mosh at all.
I seen a young girl one time come out of the mosh pit with her nose on her cheek, flat as though it was an ear. And definitely risk rewards. And then the hip hop clubs, there was lots of dancing going on. I mean, there was barely any room for anything but people. And now, what do you see? Couch.
Bottle service.
Bottle service. That's the big thing. They put these little sprinklers on the bottle.
All it is about is who's got the VIP area and who can attract, the ladies to that section. That's all. Everybody else, you guys go to the bar and, sit on the lounge couches, whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's almost like they've exchanged fun for status.
It is. No, it's
exchanging fun for, status.
No, it's just show off. It's show off time.
Wow.
That's it.
I mean, if you could show off, though, I guess that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Say you got like $1,000 burning in your pocket.
Oh, you
get a couple bottles of Moet. A bunch of people you didn't know come sit at your booth. I mean, it'd probably feel pretty cool, but
I mean,
now juxtapose that with back in the day where you had $10 in your pocket, you're wearing your dirty Chuck Taylors and your stretched out tank top,
and you'd be glad if they have beers for like 50 cents.
Your Pabst Blue Ribbon,
and you're happy. You're happy with that Pabst Blue Ribbon.
The Bud Lights, they've been sitting in the cooler. The labels coming off them because it's all time. It's all like disintegrated. Time of my life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so all right, I want to get into this. Let's see. So I put some notes here, so I just want to make sure I get this right. You know what? What does the B mean? I don't know.
Oh, middle name's Beau.
Bob?
Philippe Beau Landon. Sounds very French, but I'm American.
Okay. Phil. Say it again?
Some people call me PB, but Phil. Phil.
Yeah.
Philip Beau, Beau, Landon.
Philip Beau Landon. Got it. That's a PB. Anything that you want to specifically talk about the book about before we...
Well,
Just so I don't forget to mention or something.
no, I just want to give my publisher a bit of a shout out. So Tac 16, the publisher.
Got it.
Because they do special military veteran stuff. So just a little brief bit, say, who's your publisher? I'll be like, oh, these great guys at Tac 16 help publish me.
Okay.
And so just that, the juxtaposition, the story. We can get into the story a little bit, perhaps not give it
Yeah, we don't want to
much.
give it away. Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking.
And the running theme of these shows is AI and how it pertains to the media or the art. And I think I have something interesting to say about novels and AI, because I think it's actually in certain ways
Okay, yeah, we can
immune.
we can touch that.
I think that the authenticity of the novel will actually show through and live on a little longer than other forms of media.
Okay. So I wrote this description. You tell me if this is okay to say. So this isn't the real open. So just for when I'm editing. So, all right, let's get into it. We're here at K5 Studios. This is Mindless Sketch Show. And I'm here today with someone who's lived about 7 different lives. He's written a book that's somewhere between Office Space and Limitless, a little bit of Jersey. So how's that feel?
That was wonderful.
Okay. So I'm definitely going to mention, you being in the Navy, being a locksmith, and also you're a day trader too, right?
Well, I day trade a little bit. I went to sea for a long time. I was a merchant marine and I was in the Navy. So
Okay.
primarily sailor. The day trading was a side hustle. I bartend. I got to bartend tonight too, but that's not a big deal.
Well, okay. All right. So I'll just stick to the Navy and the locksmith thing because I thought that was interesting when we talked about that. All right. So let's get into it. So, hey guys, it's me, Joe Nunez, and I'm here at K5 Studios, and this is another episode of Mindless Sketch Show. Today, I'm here with somebody who's probably lived 7 different lives, maybe 8, and he's written a book that's somewhere between Office Space and Limitless, with a little bit of Jersey. So he's also a naval officer, and he's also a locksmith, amongst other things. But the book that he's written is Just Only Slightly. Just Only Slightly. And PB Landon, take it away.
Hello, everybody in Radio Land. My name is PB Landon. You can call me Phil for this situation. And yes, I was a sailor for 10 years, currently a locksmith. And I've written a book, and I have several manuscripts in the works.
Awesome.
All sequels to this one.
Yeah, I saw that you're going to do a follow-up to this, right?
I plan there to be 4 books in this series, in the Just Only Slightly universe, or what I like to call the New Jerseyverse of these superheroes that have Diet Coke strength superpowers.
So I started thinking a little bit about the book, and but how would you describe that to somebody who doesn't know the book? And as you can see, it's right here, and it's also, he signed it for me. So how would you describe it to somebody who might not know this book?
Sure. So your Office Space and Limitness analogy was pretty good. My little sister had a good one too. She said it's Harry Potter meets Sopranos, and
That works too. It's got Jersey in it.
It certainly is. But what the book is about mainly is sort of about the alienation of modernity and how it affects this one guy, Paul Tokachev, who's the main character of the book. And he comes into something approaching the superpower. I wouldn't call it a full superpower, but he gets something approaching it. And this little superpower goes to his head. And so he thinks to himself, because he lives this isolated, kind of dreary, monotonous life, and then this beautiful thing comes to him, this power. And so his imagination runs away, and delusions of grandeur begin to take over him. But this power isn't so strong, so it ends up getting him in more trouble than it does get him out of it.
Got it. But what was the inspiration behind it?
The inspiration is really sort of Well, it's just sort of my life. It's cosmic in the sense that I come from a family of letters. So my father's a published novelist. He's published plays. My mother's published plays. My sister works in the show business. And I was sort of the weird, my little sister and I are sort of this two straight edge, hard nosed worker bees of the family. I was a sailor. I mean, I joined up at 19 years old. I enlisted. That was back in 2005. I went on 1 week's notice. A guy in the Bronx broke his leg on a motorcycle. So I was in the recruiter's office Saturday, and I was in Great Lakes where they train the sailors, I think that very next week. My little sisters are arborists. We have scientists in my family. I became a marine engineer, primarily steam plant engineering, basically boiling water to move the ship through the ocean. And then the other half of my family is writers and artists. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't rub off, especially if you want to. I think most people...
So it runs in the family, then, basically.
It does rub in the family. And I think a lot of people like to self-actualize if they have ample time.
So my question to you about when did Locksmith come into your life?
Well, I didn't want to go back to college. I felt I had a pretty extensive career at sea. I eventually achieved my license as a merchant marine. I wasn't licensed in the Navy. I was licensed as a merchant marine sailor. And so I worked my way up. They call it the hawse pipe. That's when you go from being an unlicensed sailor to being a licensed sailor. Basically, it's like I became a lieutenant in the merchant marine in engineering. And then my union, it did well by me, but things got a little tight. Sailing got a little tight, and I was just stinking up the union hall, waiting for a job. So I decided to go pro and having a trade outside of sailing. I would have liked to go to sea, gone to sea maybe another year or two, and transitioned to shore, but it didn't work out like that. So instead of going to college, I took a journeymanship. I took an apprenticeship. And so the government paid for that, just like the way the government pay for your college, they pay for your apprenticeship. So it was nice. I got North New Jersey Basin Housing Allowance, which was pretty good because they prorate it based on a scale of where you live in the country. And so, yeah, I got paid to learn, picked up locksmithing. Was always somewhat interested into it. And
so you always been interested somewhat in locksmithing?
Yeah, I think I was, like every little boy has a little box. I used to keep this box underneath my bed. And in this little box was strange and weird things like stamps, a pocket watch,
right?
Toys that I'd broken in half that I swore I was going to put back together.
Just a medley of different random things.
Right. So I've always been interested in sort of small tools and engineering and little contraptions. I even took the gas meter out of my stove and played with the diaphragm and whatnot, reinstalled it correctly, put it back in my stove, and I think I was like 10.
Oh, wow.
Which you're not supposed to do, because I could have just blown out the whole kitchen. Especially, I grew up in a tenant house, so we had like 20 people on the stove every day.
If you're a kid, don't do that.
Do not.
Do not do that.
PSE&G will find you.
They either find you or they'll find you outside in bits and pieces.
They'll find you covered in ash. Do not do that. But the fascination with little machines. I like micro machines. I take out the back wheel. And
so the watches, you would open up a watch and look at
watches and batteries. And that's basically all locksmithing is. It's sort of like being a horologist in the sense people that repair watches. Okay. It's the same kind of.
What's their term?
A horologist.
It's really called a horologist?
Correct. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. A clocksmith. I guess that would be the Latin word is horology. I guess the more Germanic word would be like clocksmith. But yeah, locksmith, clocksmith. Okay. Yeah, but
is there any interesting things that you'd had to unlock or figure out?
Man. Yeah, so actually one was right here in Jersey City. This guy, I show up, he's like, help, help, help. I'm like, I'm here to help, don't worry. He's sweating bullets. And he doesn't seem in any duress or anything. It doesn't, the kitchen's not on fire because I didn't replace his gas, right? His gas. He looks fine. And he's like, man, the brothers, they need me. I was like, the brothers? And he's like, he was a Freemason and he had a big event and his uniform and his uniform was locked in the safe. And so it's the only time, many times I've unlocked safes. And it's always so anticlimactic because you unlock the safe and what's inside is people's birth certificates, the deeds on their house, really boring stuff. This guy had a big safe, and he kept his uniform in the safe. That's how much reverence he viewed being a Mason with. And so it was a keyed safe. I picked the lock to the safe. I open it up, And it's the only safe in my life that's like the safe of your dreams. Because this dude had stacks of gold coins. He had a book, and in the book, he was a philatelist. In the book was stamps from everywhere, from like 100 years ago. It was all the treasures you'd hope would be in a safe. And he had his uniform there, and it was pressed and it was starched.
So that was definitely treasure. That's like a big treasure.
It was the only treasure chest I've ever opened. I've opened up a couple of ones. One time I was in the west side of Newark, and this guy was like, hey, my buddy needs his money. I'm like, okay. So I drill out his safe. I couldn't pick his safe. And in there was just bands of money with like lobster claw rubber bands on it.
Yeah, we know what that's about.
He was doing his thing.
Paid you well, at least.
He did. He paid cash. It came right out the bundles.
Stays between you.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, that's great. So okay, so let's explore a little bit about Paul. Is it Tokachev?
Tokachev.
Tokachev. All right. So tell me a little bit about like where's this guy from? Where does he come from?
He comes from a little town called Eaton, upstate New York. That plays very little in on his character because he lives in Newark, New Jersey. The story takes place primarily in north side Newark, New Jersey, by the Branch Brook Park area and the financial district right off of Broad Street.
Got it.
Like by the Prudential Center.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to do with creating Paul Tokachev is that I wrote the book in what's called third person omnipotent. So it's more old timey. Older novels did a lot of omnipotent narratives because they felt it was...
Explain it to, just in case people don't understand what that means.
So Faulkner would be the nth degree of the omnipotent because he's in everybody's head. A lot of books are told in first person. Right. Some books are told in abstract. Some books are told in flashback.
Right.
Some books are told in the omnipotent. Right. Faulkner is the pinnacle of he's in everybody's head. You're hearing everybody's ideas. This one, third person omnipotent, is like, imagine there's a little guy on Paul Tokachev's shoulder and he's saying what's happening to Paul.
Got it.
So Babe would be an example of a book or a movie that's kind of that way, where there's the main character, but the narration is one deviation removed, but with him always in vision,
right,
in the vista.
Got it. So do you think this, did you mean for this to be like a funny story?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It was supposed to be funny and quirky and at times poignant and get a point across. It was tough for me to write, though, because I think Paul is very introspective and an introvert, and I'm sort of gregarious. I like to talk and chit-chat with anybody. Yeah.
So how were you able to like write somebody like that when you being an extrovert, the character being an introvert?
Sure.
How did
I was able to do that?
Yeah.
Because I do a fair amount of mentoring since I left the military, and I talk to a lot of young guys nowadays, and a lot of young guys are sort of very reserved
and petty inside their head.
They're routine to the point of, it's pain-inducing. They're very reluctant to step outside of their comfort zones and what they know, which is cascading because then they don't know much or step outside of their comfort zone very often, which makes them very blinkered. And I saw a lot of these guys, and sometimes they would make me laugh, and they were like, well, what are you laughing at? I was like, because you're doing this thing silly. You're doing this thing like you've never done it. You're 19. This shouldn't be your first time doing this thing all the time.
Right.
But then the things they are good at, they're good at with almost Rain Man-esque clarity. Like they're so good. Like being good at puzzle books, something that's Paul's really good at.
Right.
Because he's scared to do anything else, but he's good at puzzles, and he feels a sense of confidence, even maybe superiority every time he completes a puzzle.
Yeah, it gives him a little like dopamine rush.
He feels validated every time he does it. But I got a lot of experience mentoring, like in baseball and softball. I do some coaching and whatnot. Okay. I kind of hang around my old boxing hall, so you see the young guys in there. Maybe they're hitting the heavy bag for the first time, and they're doing it nervous style. But eventually they warm up and they get better. So I have a lot of experience looking at younger guys, mainly Gen Z guys and maybe early millennials.
Seeing them step out of their box and build up their confidence.
Sure, but only rarely. It's not a flaw. It's a feature of younger guys nowadays to be sort of apprehensive at everything and very stick to it, to their routines.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. So here's another thought. So when you were writing the book, how did you think of it when you were this just a story of like trying to structure story structured? Were you planning to have it be in order, or did you want it to jump around? Like, what was your method, and how did you plan to structure the story when you went into it?
So it was very organic. It started off as a small story. The story really originally only went to where Paul realizes he has this special ability. Right. And then I thought, well, why stop there? You know, this could get really funny. And if you want to make something funny, you have to make the person, the main character, sort of hapless, or misuse it, or use all the tenets of comedy, a mistaken identity and misappropriation of the power to create all the bizarre acts. So, for example, there's a chapter where they're having a basketball game, and Paul's using his power to influence the outcome of the basketball game, and he's ill-dressed. He's in his work shoes, and so his feet are killing him. And the other team can't beat him even though he's in these work shoes and slacks. And they're like, why can't we beat this guy? Why can't we score? And it's because he's using his special ability on defense. So you make one funny little story, and then you're like, now that we've played with the singularity of this universe, the physical laws of the universe have changed in this story. Okay. So let's tweak it this way and make it funny this way. And let's tweak it this way and make it funny this way. And let's tweak it this way. And so on and on and on. There's a Zoom call scene where, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a scene with the Zoom call, and he's using his special ability to sort of wreak chaos. And that was top of mind of everybody because it came out during COVID. So it was very...
So then basically you just started thinking of different, well, I mean, it's not wrong to feel like you're thinking of scenes because I'm sure you're visualizing.
Similar. It's very similar.
You're visualizing it.
Yeah.
You know, let's go with this. Like, if you were to wake up one day and have a ridiculous power, what would you think it would be?
If I had a ridiculous power, first thing I'd do is call in sick because I got to flesh this power all the way out. In my ridiculous power, I think clairvoyance would be neat, but you already need to be lucky. So clairvoyance is only like half a power. Because think about it. What if your local bodega doesn't have the winning lotto ticket? Like the scratch-off's just not there. It doesn't matter how clairvoyant you are. You got to run down to Cape May, and there's the winning scratch-off ticket. No.
Like you already
You might miss the bus.
Right.
There's too many variables being a clairvoyant.
Although that would be very funny, though, if you have the ability to
comedy,
win, but you just don't get there.
It's the sort of superpowers, the gift that keeps giving, because it makes every situation funny.
Then you end up being like Good Luck Chuck for somebody else because you're like, damn, I just missed the lottery ticket. He won it now. Jeez.
Oh, the girl of your dreams, and now she's with you to get to the guy of her dreams.
Exactly.
So, superpower. Reading people's thoughts, I think, would be disappointing. Because a lot of people...
I don't want to know what people think.
It would be horrifying and disappointing because you're just like, everybody would be really self-centered or somewhat banal. And then, and then great, you know what everyone else is thinking, but you probably could have guessed anyway. People are getting, unfortunately, a bit two-dimensional. I can guess what most people's attitudes are. Wow. I could really, maybe Magneto.
No, I know I was thinking, being able to manipulate metal and stuff like that. That's
what it is for me? Time travel, to go forward or backward. Because then you'd have the power of clairvoyance, and you'd have the power.
But there'd probably be a limit to it. Like you can only go like 2 minutes into the future or something.
The small superpower, it keeps giving. So let's say you can only go 2 minutes into the future, right? What do? You go back down the hall. You go back down. You catch the light rail as opposed to missing it. Now you got to take the light rail at like 9:15 light rail with all the ne'er-do-wells and the guys who are just wearing trench coats and the people. There would be a lot.
I think there would be a lot of consequences to your actions if you were able to see 2 minutes into the future, because that could be a moment that something wrong is happening. Do you intervene? Do you not? Do you feel responsible for doing anything? Are you altering things?
Or you just kiss it goodbye. You're like, if I could see 3 minutes into the future, I'd be able to hit the exit.
Like, damn, I know he's going to get hit by this bus right now.
Yeah.
And you just let it happen.
It's tough. I remember there was a show back in the day called Early Edition. So we got the next day's newspaper, the day,
Right.
right? And so he had one day to set things right, and that was a pretty interesting premise. But yeah, I say if I had any ability, probably time travel to some extent.
Yeah, I think I think we could play with that idea all day.
Jumping really high is always cool. Just go straight to the court.
Instead of flying, you just jump really high.
Oh man,
Have to
from
be,
the foul
you have to be
line,
able
man.
to float down.
Boom!
You have to be able
yeah.
to float down because
You
if
just
you jump
wreck your
high,
ankles and
you
blow
just-
your knees
you just
out.
fucking
Wow.
kill yourself.
Yeah, like a grasshopper. No, you need two powers with every power like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it would suck if you have the ability to jump really high, but there's no way for you.
Oh, to land, or like you don't still, or you still frail, so you smush
So
like
you're
a
gonna have to
pancake?
be able to jump and land like on top of a building. You
Yeah.
can't- or grab or
Think of
something.
it. Think of this though. What if you could just withstand really harsh landings but couldn't jump? What would be the point? But it'd be useless without the other.
Or what if you could take a punch and not feel anything?
See, this is why this was the premise of the book, and it just kept it grew so organically. I was like,
Yeah.
you could just play with this forever.
Okay, what would be the most? Okay, so we're just gonna do real quick rapid fire. What's the most useless power you've ever thought of?
Being able to sleep when you want to. Yeah.
What's your okay? How about what's your weirdest writing ritual?
Fast. Sometimes I don't eat. I don't finish eating until I finish writing.
Who's your dream reader? Who's your dream reader of audiobooks?
So if this could be anyone, maybe Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Okay.
Sort of quirky, but no, we need someone from the East.
Yeah, because he's
You know, the guy who played Furio Gianti, forget the actor's name, Federico. The guy who played Furio with the ponytail, him and his Furio accent reads just only slightly.
I don't think I remember.
Federico, oh God, I'm from Patterson. He's a Patterson guy too. I should know his last name. But yeah, him and his Italian accent.
Okay. What job from the past would you never go back to?
Boy, you know, locksmithing was cool, but getting calls at 2 a.m. and you didn't make money all day, and you got to make your money. You got to make your end meet. So I mean, yeah, it was 3 years as a locksmith out in the field, and it was like 3 years of no sleep. Job I'd never go back to. Nope. Construction. I used to remediate water. So I'd be in a trench up to my knees in water, and I'd have to pull the groundwater out, and we would remediate it. That was right here. That was off Johnston Ave in Jersey City.
Yeah, that's right here.
That's when we put this big pipeline into Manhattan and came up all the way through Elizabeth and the refineries and whatnot.
And you'd have to do that, like, through any type of weather?
They'd run the trench, and then they'd lay the pipe down. And some places the trench was only like 8 feet deep, but the water table in Bayonne and Jersey City is so low. I mean, it's so high. So you go 4 feet down, you're hitting water. The bay's right there, and we would have to suck the water out. We'd have to keep up with it and remediate it. So yeah, that was, and that winter was cold and wet. No snow, freezing rain every day. Forget it.
No wonder you don't want to go back to that ever again. All right. So, are you working on anything different now, or are you just focused on the sequel?
Yeah, I'm focused on the sequel and the subsequent books. I don't see my talent being divergent in any way. Like, I mean, could I write a television show? Sure, but it's who you know.
Yeah.
And it'd be new to me. Could I write poetry? Sure. But then you're definitely not going to sell.
Okay.
Of all the writing forms that you could make a living off of or really get out there, I think poetry has become a bit too esoteric for a lot of people. They need the context of a story to really piece it together.
Okay. And where can they find your book?
My book's on Amazon. If you type in PB Landon or just only slightly, on the whole first page on just about any search engine. Primarily Amazon. You could get it directly from my publisher, Tax 16.
Okay. And what I was going to say is, do you have also, have a website as well?
I have a website through my publisher. They have a biography of me and whatnot, and features my book.
Okay.
So that's mainly. Do I have one outside of my publisher? No, not yet.
Okay.
No.
All right. Any upcoming events, book signings, or things like that you might be doing soon?
Well, the second book is very close. So I'm selling it now. I may go with my original publisher again, but I also had the third manuscript done. So I'm really sort of selling 2 manuscripts at the same time in sequence. So
Because this is basically a series.
Yeah. I planned it to be 4, and I got 3 in the bag. I got 3 in the bag. You know, lots of time to write, and yeah, I could sit down. I bring my laptop to the pub, and I can just go all through happy hour till about closing. They say, "Phil, get out of here."
You're like, wait, one more line.
I'm midway through something. You're gonna have to keep the lights on, Chucky. Yeah.
Awesome. So, if there's anything that you could say to an aspiring book writer out there, somebody who wants to get into it, what kind of advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid to throw spaghetti at the wall. Don't be afraid just to write about your day. I always journaled, which is sort of rare. I journaled pen to paper. Yeah, don't be scared to write about anything. Write about how something made you feel. Write about how your softball game went. Write about how you went to a party and you didn't quite get to talk to this gal you wanted to. Just go ahead and write about anything. Flesh it out. Also, read too. Reading is important for writing. If you read good books or you read things you're interested in, it'll jog your own memory. It'll get your own creative juices flowing. Plus, give you admiration for the great writers of the past or whoever you like to read.
Awesome. Right. Okay. So, Phil, thanks for coming on. And I just I want you to let them know where to find you, with who you want to thank for, who's involved with the inspiration of the book, all those things. Let them know.
My name is PB Landon, and you can get my books at Amazon.com. I'm also on Hoopla and Barnes & Nobles as well. I wish I had more of a social media presence, but I'm working on it. Bit of a Luddite. I like to be known primarily through my works. I'm not sure how concerned everybody is with what my favorite sandwich is and whatnot. You can also get it primarily from my publisher, Tac 16, a very cool publisher. They strictly do military authors. So a lot of their books are military memoirs or self-help books, but they got a couple of quirky fiction books that are fun you could check out.
Any shout outs? Did you
I'd
want
like
to
to shout out my whole fam, mom, dad, sisters, everybody, all the crew at the pub, all our friends downtown. You know, this is the first time you and I have spoken where there wasn't a bunch of cocktails in the ashtray
Oh,
between
yeah.
us.
I know. No cigars. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Tac 16, my publisher, fam. Everybody knows who they are. All a big help. Get inspiration from everybody. You know?
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And definitely check out all the information below in the description to follow PB Landon and the book and where you can find it. Also, like, subscribe. Make sure that you leave some comments. Let us know how your thoughts are. I got some other episodes coming up that I really like your feedback. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So with that, stay creative